watching Times Now's Election Yatra. I'm Pratibha Chandran. Thank you for joining us on the show. Today we speak about Thiruvananthapuram. Now, as you know, traditionally the battle in Kerala has been between the LDF and the Congress-led UDF. But this time around, the BJP is also looking to make an impact. And the platform for that tectonic shift could come in from Nemam constituency, because it was from this very constituency where the BJP had also made history, getting the first MLA from the region in Kerala in 2016. We have another BJP heavyweight in the fray this time around. How is the battle playing out? He is pitted against a minister, sitting minister. Join us on this episode as we take a look at how this battle is playing out. The city of Thiruvananthapuram has turned into a sea of red in the last two elections, as the left parties have dominated in the fray in the assembly elections since 2016. But even if there has been a complete domination by the left of late, there is one seat in the capital city that has often given them a tough challenge. Since 2011, the Nemam seat in Thiruvananthapuram has witnessed close battles between the left and the BJP, relegating the Congress to a distant third position. The Nemam constituency has become a breeding ground for the BJP. It has been nurturing this constituency, and any Hindu consolidation in the constituency could turn out to be a nightmare for the anti-BJP forces in the state and this particular constituency. Interestingly, this is also the only constituency in the entire political history of the BJP in Kerala that the party has won. But Nemam is also the story of the Congress party losing ground, because until 2011, the Congress party had its bastion here. But after the delimitation, the battle was turned on its head, and it was the left that put its footprint here. How different is it going to be this time around? No wonder then that the BJP has fielded possibly its biggest face in the state from the Nemam seat. BJP's Rajiv Chandrasekhar is looking to milk the goodwill of the upper caste vote bank to take down a veteran leader in CPM's V. Shivanakutty. And that's why today we're tracking Rajiv Chandrasekhar's campaign to find out what he has to promise and whether the people of Nemam are seeking a change. It's a very busy time. Just a very quick note, and after that he will also be joining us on the bus. But while you're campaigning, just one question from you. What is the promise that you're giving to the people of the constituency, Nemam constituency, one of the tougher constituency, but is it a must-win constituency for you?
No, look, there's no question of any promises. This is not our type of politics, where we make promises during elections and then forget to keep it for the last 70 years. That is simply the politics of the Congress and the CPM. And people are fed up of that. What we are doing today is providing a vision and a roadmap for change in Kerala, a vision for a Vikasita Kerala. Just like Narendra Modi ji has brought change to India, and had laid the dreams, foundation for a Viksit Bharat. We wish to bring Viksit Kerala, and in Nemam we are talking about the last 5 years of a failed MLA who is the education minister of the state and has destroyed the education sector. And that if I am given an opportunity, we will bring development in an unprecedented manner, unprecedented scale to the people of Nemam.
Okay, all right. We see that you're busy campaigning. There are people who are going by, and Sir Rajiv Chandrasekhar. We'll meet next in the Times Now's election yatra, where we'll continue this conversation with him. With just days left for the polls, the BJP has hit the campaign trail to pitch themselves as a third front to the LDF and the UDF. But are they prepared to take the electoral might of the heavyweights? Let's find out. On Times Now's election yatra, we are tracking the BJP's campaign, and we saw Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who is leading the charge. We spoke to him on the campaign trail, and he joins us now on Times Now's election yatra studio on wheels. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the show, sir. So, you've been campaigning. In fact, there are many reports that say that even before your name was announced, you've been campaigning here. A lot has changed in the 2024 elections as well. We spoke to you. What do you think has changed from 2024 for you and the BJP versus now?
No, look, in 2024, it was an election which I was not expected to be part of. I was told about 30 days before the election by my Prime Minister and my party president that I should go to Tirunelveli. And I came here and I campaigned hard. I received a lot of love and affection. And the people of Tirunelveli welcomed me wholeheartedly. And albeit that I lost by about 8,000 odd votes. If I'd got 8,000 votes, I would have won. Even after the elections, I said Nemam holds a very special place in my heart because they really trusted me and gave me an overwhelming mandate. And I said I was not expecting to be a contestant here, but I said I owe a lot and I will continue to work for them. And now I've got this opportunity, and I certainly hope that I can live up to the promise and the faith and the confidence that my party has, and I look forward to serving the people of Nemam.
Okay, but in the Lok Sabha elections as well, I think it was from the Nemam constituency that you got about 45% support, so there was overwhelming support. But now you have a very formidable challenger from this constituency as well, Mr. Shivanukutty. How do you see his candidature from here?
No, look, let me just tell you, these things like formidable candidate, etc., are quite imaginary because when we set out about 8 months ago, and I made it a mission that I wanted, because I had lost the Lok Sabha elections in Tirunelveli, the BJP Kerala team wanted to make a point that we will get the confidence of the people to get the Tirunelveli corporation mandate. At the same time, the same gentleman said there is a snowball's chance in hell for BJP NDA winning Tirunelveli corporation, and the people proved him wrong. So I really think that these elections are really not about how many people have come here 25 years, 30 years, sat down and become MLAs and done nothing. But rather it is an election of change. People have realized that for the first time in the history of Kerala, there is an alternate to the CPM that is not the Congress.
Okay, my colleague Arpita has spoken to the Chief Minister, and when he was asked about whether the left sees the BJP as an alternative in Kerala now, he laughed it off and he said there is no chance for the BJP here.
Yeah, which may be why so many CPM and CPI leaders are leaving the CPM and joining the BJP. I mean, we've got a sitting MLA from the LDF who have joined the BJP. We have so many ex-MLAs of the CPM and the CPI who are joining the BJP. Look, the reality is the following. The CPM has an almost 0% chance of coming back to power because they have been given a mandate 2 times by the people of Kerala. And the last 10 years, the CPM, all they have to show for it is the highest inflation in the country, the highest joblessness in the country, little or no economic activity. What can the CPM say and the CPM Chief Minister say other than say, no, live in denial? And I predict one thing to you today, you can record this and note this down, that there will be surprising results from the seats that nobody will expect, which will give BJP NDA mandates to govern in Kerala.
Okay, we talk about BJP's foray here because history was also created right here in Thiruvananthapuram in the corporation elections. But before I come to that, I also want to address the one issue that you have been facing personally when it comes to politics, which is multiple leaders claiming that you have been airdropped to Kerala, or you are an outsider, you don't know how things work in Kerala. How do you respond to the criticism? Because after years here, still that tag stays with you.
Isn't it laughable that the people who say this, on one hand are the Congress party who imported an Italian and made her the president of the party? Number one. Number two, let's just step back a minute and try and understand. By the so-called people who have dominated Kerala politics for the last 70 years, what have they done for Kerala? I agree. I have served 3 terms as a member of parliament. I represented Karnataka. I have come here to Kerala politics very recently. I am a newcomer. I am an outsider. But I believe that is my strength. I am not weighed down by the conventional legacy, manufactured controversy type of divisive politics of the CPM and the Congress in Kerala. They're all doomed to fail.
Okay, and often you've also said that the LDF and the UDF also seems to have a secret deal in Kerala.
It's not secret at all. It's a very open deal. It's very open because in 27 states and 8 union territories, including the state next door, Tamil Nadu, the CPM and Congress are in formal alliance. So what is so secret about it? I lost my Lok Sabha election because there was a clear transfer of vote from the CPM to the Congress party. In the local body elections, I can point out chapter and verse, examples galore, where to defeat the BJP NDA, the CPM transferred votes to the Congress and the Congress transferred votes to the CPM.
What is the challenge for the BJP in Kerala? Because surveys very clearly show that there is an increase in the vote share of the BJP, but in terms of seat, it has not happened. What is the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge for us was that we were not seen as a credible contender. And I think after the local body election and after winning Trivandrum Corporation and these multiple municipalities, people realized that we are able to get the vote to govern. We can govern in Kerala. And that old narrative of the CPM and the Congress that somehow the BJP NDA were untouchables has now collapsed. So we are today contesting 140 seats as NDA with 2 principal NDA partners, 2020 and BDJS. And we think we are going to be competitive in all 140 constituencies. So we, in the past, did not have candidates. We today have a full line of candidates. In the local body election, we fielded almost 22,000 candidates. So we are an extremely different and a surging party today that is now interested in winning elections and governing for the change that we are promising the people of Kerala.
And do you think that Gandhis are a factor, especially considering they are now MPs from Wayanad, both Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have been?
Priyanka Gandhi is about as relevant to Kerala politics as Winston Churchill is to today's UK politics. I mean, Priyanka Gandhi is an airdrop candidate, doesn't know anything about Wayanad, has no role to play in Wayanad, just as Rahul Gandhi. She's been airdropped because that is a seat where the Indian Union Muslim League can get her elected, the Jamaat-e-Islami can get her elected, and she got elected. That's it. It's as simple as that. There is nothing more to Priyanka Gandhi's candidature as there was nothing more to Rahul Gandhi's candidature. They are in absentia MPs that are sitting here because they're afraid of contesting anywhere else.
Okay, and one of the key issues that the BJP has spoken about in the elections is also the Sabrimala issue. Now, there have been 2 issues. One is the women's entry into Sabrimala. Many, including, interestingly, the Congress yesterday was telling us that the centre has changed its stance. And this is hypocrisy, and also the gold loot issue.
If there are 2 parties in this state that actually stood up and wanted to disrupt the rituals of Sabrimala, it was the CPM in 2018, and the Congress for 2 years supported the CPM. It is the Congress party's leadership in 2018 who wanted to send the BJP president to jail for opposing women's entry into Sabrimala. So the Congress party's position changes with the winds. They realize today people are upset about Sabrimala and they have suddenly skewed their position, and now they pretend that they oppose the CPM and they somehow have an original position. Not at all. At that time, they thought they were being smart. They supported the CPM. Now they see that the winds are changing. The only party that has consistently maintained a position on principle was the BJP NDA. We said then, thousands of our workers are in jail. Thousands of our workers went to jail, have cases filed against them by the Communist Party. Today, the CPM has gone to the Supreme Court and done a U-turn on their position that they filed in 2018. What are they saying today? They are saying religious rituals are best left to religious leaders to decide. So why did the Chief Minister do it in 2018? So this is an issue, number one. Number two, when 4.5 kilos of gold goes missing from a holy temple, a Hindu temple, I mean, you can't shove it under the carpet and hope that people will forget. Now, if this had happened in a mosque or this had happened in a church, there would be riots in the streets of Kerala. That has not happened. We are saying you cannot brush aside this crime. You cannot brush aside the responsibility of the Devaswam minister to safeguard the temples, which is a solemn responsibility under the Constitution, Article 25. All this has happened, and the CM says it is a slip-up. How is it a slip-up when 4.5 kilos of gold goes missing from a temple?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, for joining us, and all the very best to you. With that, we also go around, speak to the voters as well, and find out what is the mood on the ground. The BJP may be keen on repeating their 2016 feat, but to do so, they will have to take on the might of both the LDF and a Congress that is fighting for relevance in Nemam. The left has gone with a familiar face in V. Shivanakutty, someone who has been in the fray here in Nemam since 2011. While he lost the 2016 polls to the BJP, he was victorious once again in 2021. But can he repeat that feat once again? Joining us on today's Times Now's Election Yatra is a very special guest, the Kerala Education Minister and Senior Left Leader, Mr. Shivanakutty. Thank you so much for joining us on the Yatra, sir. I saw you campaigning. It's a very hectic campaign. 2 terms the LDF has been in power. What do you think the election is about? What are the key issues this election for the people? What is the left going with in the elections?
രണ്ടാമത്തെ പിണറായി ഗവൺമെൻറ്റാണ് 2016 ഒന്നാം പിണറായി ഗവൺമെൻറ് അധികാരത്തിൽ വന്നു. ആ 5 വർഷക്കാലം ഒരുപാട് പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. കോവിഡ്, അതുപോലെ പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ നിരവധി പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ആ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളൊക്കെ തന്നെ പരിഹാരം കണ്ടുകൊണ്ടാണ് രണ്ടാമത് വീണ്ടും 5 വർഷക്കാലം പൂർത്തീകരിച്ച് മത്സരിക്കുന്നത്. 5 വർഷക്കാലം പൂർത്തീകരിച്ച് മത്സരിച്ചപ്പോൾ ഇടതുപക്ഷ ജനാധിപത്യ മുന്നണി പ്രകടന പത്രികയിൽ അവതരിപ്പിച്ച 100% കാര്യങ്ങളും ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് ചെയ്തു തീർക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി പിന്നെ കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഇപ്പോൾ കേരളത്തിലെ ഞങ്ങളെ ഗവൺമെൻറ് സംബന്ധിച്ചോളം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ആത്മവിശ്വാസമുണ്ട്. വികസന പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ, മതേതരത്വത്തിൽ ഊന്നി നിന്നുകൊണ്ടുള്ള പ്രവർത്തനം, ഈ കാര്യങ്ങളാൽ ഞങ്ങൾ വീണ്ടും അധികാരത്തിൽ വരുമെന്നുള്ള പൂർണ്ണമായ വിശ്വാസം ഞങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ട്.
Sir, ഈ പ്രാവശ്യത്തെ election ഒരു 3-way battle ആണോ, or do you see only Congress as the challenger for left?
ഇപ്പോൾ കേരളത്തിൽ കോൺഗ്രസ് തന്നെയാണ് ചലഞ്ച് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. BJPക്ക് ആകെ ഒരു സീറ്റാണ് ഉള്ളത്. അത് പിന്നെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന സീറ്റാണ് ഞാൻ മത്സരിച്ച് BJPയെ പരാജയപ്പെടുത്തുന്നത്. അവരുടെ അക്കൗണ്ട് ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോൾ യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ മത്സരം നടക്കുന്നത് LDFും UDFും തമ്മിൽ തന്നെയാണ്. ഇന്ത്യയിലെ മറ്റു ചില സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങൾ നടക്കുന്ന പോലെ പണാധിപത്യം കൊണ്ട് ജനാധിപത്യത്തെ വിലക്ക് വാങ്ങാൻ കേരളത്തിൽ പ്രയാസമായിരിക്കും. മറ്റു ചില സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങളിൽ എല്ലാ സീറ്റും കോൺഗ്രസ് ജയിച്ചെങ്കിലും ഗവൺമെൻറ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നത് BJPയാണ്. അത് പണം കൊടുത്ത് MLAമാരെ വാങ്ങുകയാണ്. അത് കേരളത്തിൽ പ്രയാസമായിരിക്കും.
നിങ്ങളുടെ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യുവൻസിയിൽ രാജീവ് ചന്ദ്രശേഖർ നിങ്ങളുടെ ചാലഞ്ചറാ. ഹൗ ടഫ് ഡു യു തിങ്ക് ദാറ്റ് കോൺടെസ്റ്റ് ഇസ്? ബിക്കോസ് BJP വളരെ ആക്റ്റീവായ ഒരു ലോക്സഭ വിക്ടറി ആയി. മിസ്റ്റർ രാജീവ് ചന്ദ്രശേഖർ ഡിഡ്ന്റ് win the Lok Sabha seat from Thiruvananthapuram, but it was from the Nemam constituency that he got about 45% polling in support of the BJP. അപ്പോൾ അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എത്ര വലിയ ചാലഞ്ചാ?
എനിക്കതൊരു ചലഞ്ച് ഉണ്ടാവാറില്ല. ഇടതുപക്ഷത്തിന് 30,000 വോട്ടാണ് ലോക്സഭാ തെരഞ്ഞെടുപ്പിൽ കിട്ടുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ എനിക്ക് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ അസംബ്ലി തെരഞ്ഞെടുപ്പിൽ കിട്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള വോട്ട് 69,000ആണ്. 59,000ആണ്. 59,000ആണ് ഞാൻ തോറ്റപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയ വോട്ടെന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് വോട്ടെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഓരോ പാറ്റേണാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് എനിക്കൊരു ചലഞ്ചായി വരുന്നേ ഇല്ല.
ബട്ട് ബി ജെ പിയുടെ ക്യാമ്പയിന് ഇനി മതി, ലെഫ്റ്റിന്റെ കറപ്ഷൻ മതി, കോൺഗ്രസ് പാർട്ടിന്റെ മിസ്റൂൾ മതി, അതാണ് അവരുടെ ക്യാമ്പയിൻ, ബി ജെ പിന്റെ ക്യാമ്പയിൻ. നിങ്ങളുടെ ഉത്തരം എന്താ?
നല്ല കാശ് കൊടുത്താൽ നല്ല സ്ലോഗനും നല്ല ക്യാമ്പയിൻ മെറ്റീരിയൽസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കി തരുന്ന ഒരുപാട് നല്ല കമ്പനികൾ ഇന്ത്യ രാജ്യത്തുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ നല്ല കാശ് കൊടുക്കുമ്പോൾ നല്ല സ്ലോഗൻസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കി തരും. അത് ബി ജെ പിയുടെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട നേതാക്കന്മാരുടെ ആഗ്രഹം മാത്രമാണ് ആ ക്യാമ്പയിനൂടെ കഴിഞ്ഞു വരുന്നത്. അത് ജനങ്ങളുടെ ആകത്തിന്റെ ക്യാമ്പയിൻ അല്ല.
ബി ജെ പി ഇത് പറയാ that there is an open deal between in the India bloc, left and the Congress party is together. അപ്പോൾ അവർ ഇവിടെ how are they fighting it out? It's clear that they have a deal. When it's Lok Sabha elections, they transfer their votes to the other party. Similarly, in the assembly elections, they transfer votes to the other party just to keep the BJP away.
യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ഡീല് ബി ജെ പിയും കോൺഗ്രസും തമ്മിലുള്ള ഡീലുണ്ടാക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പം നിയമ ഇലക്ഷനിൽ ഡീലുണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. മുമ്പ് കോഴിക്കോട് വടകര ഭാഗത്ത് നടന്നിട്ടുള്ള പാർലമെൻറ്റ് തിരഞ്ഞെടുപ്പിൽ ഡീലുണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പം അത് യു ഡി എഫിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ബി ജെ പി ഒറ്റപ്പെടുത്തുക എന്നുള്ളതിനപ്പുറമായി അതിനുവേണ്ടി എന്ത് ത്യാഗവും സഹിച്ച് എന്ത് ഡീലും ഉറപ്പിക്കുക എന്നുള്ള നിലപാടാണ് യു ഡി എഫിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് കോൺഗ്രസിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ഉള്ളത്.
അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഇലക്ഷനിൽ വൺ ഓഫ് ദ ബിഗ്ഗസ്റ്റ് ഇഷ്യൂ ഹാസ് ബീൻ ദി ശബരിമല ഇഷ്യൂ. What is the left government stand on it, and are you on the back foot? Because one is women's entry into Sabrimala. BJP says the government went against the devotees. Similarly, Sabrimala gold loot as well. The BJP and the Congress have said that the left has cheated the people and the devotees.
നമ്മളെ സ്ഥിരമായി ഒരു നിലപാടില്ലല്ലോ. ഓരോ കാലഘട്ടത്തിനനുസരിച്ച് ഓരോ നിലപാട് സ്വീകരിക്കും. അന്നൊരു നിലപാട് സ്വീകരിച്ചു. ആ നിലപാടിൻ്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ള അഭിപ്രായ പ്രകടനത്തിൻ്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ ഇന്നൊരു നിലപാട് സ്വീകരിക്കുന്നു. കോടതിയിൽ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് ഫാക്ട്സ് ഫയൽ ചെയ്യുന്ന അവസരത്തിൽ ജനങ്ങളുടെ ആകെ തന്നെ അഭിപ്രായം മാനിച്ചുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ഒരു പുതിയൊരു സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് ഫാക്ട്സ് ഫയൽ ചെയ്തു. അതൊക്കെ സാധാരണഗതിയിൽ നടക്കുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളാണല്ലോ. ഒരു കാര്യം ഒരു അഭിപ്രായം ഒരു പ്രാവശ്യം പറഞ്ഞെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചിട്ട് ഒരിക്കലും അഭിപ്രായത്തിൽ മാറാൻ പാടില്ലെന്നുള്ള കാര്യമില്ലല്ലോ.
On the BJP's rise, on what the challenges for you as well, I want to ask you, the BJP has made a very consistent outreach towards the Christian community this time around. On one hand, you have Hindu consolidation and the Christian outreach, plus you have the Congress party also consolidating the Muslim vote. So is that the biggest challenge for the left in the elections?
ഞങ്ങൾ ക്രിസ്ത്യാനികളും മുസൽമാനും ഹിന്ദുക്കളെല്ലാം ഒരേ രൂപത്തിൽ കാണുന്നവരാണ്. അവരുടെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾക്ക് പരിഹാരം കാണുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അതിൽ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട പ്രശ്നം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ മതേതരത്വമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ സമൂഹത്തിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ പിന്തുണ ഞങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ട്.
Okay. So Prime Minister Modi, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, ഒരു ഇമ്പാക്റ്റും ഇല്ല, only Pinarayi Vijayan this election?
അല്ല, അതില്ലെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ. ആദ്യമേ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ, പ്രൈം മിനിസ്റ്റർ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ ഒരു ഇമ്പാക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവുമെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ. രാഹുൽ ഗാന്ധി എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ ഇമ്പാക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവുമെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ. അത് ഇപ്പോൾ രാഹുൽ ഗാന്ധി ജനിച്ചു വളർന്ന സ്ഥലത്തിന് രാഹുൽ ഗാന്ധി പരാജയപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ. അപ്പം അതെല്ലാം ഉള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് അവർക്ക് ഗവൺമെൻറ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ കഴിയില്ലെന്ന് മാത്രമേ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞുള്ളൂ.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shivanukutti, for joining us on Times Now's Election Yatra. All the very best to you. And with that, we also speak to others in the constituency to find out what are the issues for them and who they see as their favourite. The countdown is on for a fiery clash here in Kerala, and the BJP is aiming to breach the Kerala fortress. Will Nemam spark the beginning of what could possibly be a tectonic shift in Kerala's politics? So the Nemam constituency battle is turning out to be quite interesting and a very, very bitter one as well. What's going to happen in this election? A lot also depends on how the votes are going to be split. We spoke to the voters, we spoke to the netas, and with that, of course, the election will hold the answer on whether there will be history that will be created from the constituency.